So speaking of fitting needs, sounds like SpaceX is going to be sending some people up.
That did not work at all. I was trying to find a good transition myself and failed. So I'm not putting that on you.
Okay. Well, hit me with it.
So we've been following SpaceX for a while with their, hang on, is this the right? I'm so bad at pulling things up. Why do I even do this? Okay. So yeah, SpaceX has been testing out the Crew Dragon, and we've been following that for a while. And is this showing my entire screen?
Yeah.
I suck at this.
I see. Just showing. If you guys are wondering what we record with, right. Adobe Audition, not sponsored.
That's interesting to you.
Holler at us, Adobe.
There we go. So Gwen Shotwell, El Presidente of SpaceX, an awesome human being, she announced, I don't know how casually this was, but they were at, the 2020 satellite conference in Washington, D.C. just this last week, said that they're gunning for May for the first crewed Dragon mission for the Dragon 2. So this is actually Demo 2, I believe. Demo 1 was the first one that they did that kind of went up and docked with the space station, came back down flawlessly, I might add. But this is Demo 2, so this is going to take Bob Bayman and Doug Hurley. Yes.
Or B&D, as I like to call them.
Who, by the way, are like really good friends. They were in each other's weddings and everything, and they're going to go up and do this together. It's kind of cool. But anyway, we've been following it. We've been kind of trying to. There's been this horse race this whole time between them and Boeing and the Dreamliner and everything. Boeing hit some setbacks when they launched last month or so, and now here we are. Tesla, or almost said Tesla. SpaceX seems to have a time. They're looking at May.
Nice.
So Elon was there for this thing too at Satellite 2020. He said that they put the Crew Dragon through a staggering amount of testing and preparation.
Well, that's coming from a guy that, like, I mean, when it comes to getting things done, he's like, faster is better.
Yeah,
it's probably. I bet if you asked like a real seasoned veteran that worked on the space shuttle or something, they'd be like, it's like a normal amount.
Yeah, that's true. For him,
you know
it's like we had to actually like test things.
That's what I mean. It's like, how could they? Like he's all up in arms about it, and everyone else is like, dude, this is the least amount we've ever done.
Could you imagine though if something went wrong with people on board? I mean, of course they were testing the hell out of it, and I know that the way they launched, what they call it, load and go. So they'll actually the astronauts will be in the capsule on the pad as they're loading fuel onto it, which is, unless I'm wrong, has never been done before. And I know that was a bit of a hang up for a while. I'm guessing that's been cleared up. And they've got the go.
Wasn't that what doomed Apollo 1?
No. It never even got up on the launch pad, I don't believe. They were just doing like a test on there.
That was just it wasn't even the real capsule, right?
Well, it was the real capsule, but they were just doing like a test, and they were just in there testing things out, and spark happened, pure oxygen environment. And there was something in the door that it didn't open up because of the air pressure in there when the fire started. So
isn't there and what percentage of like we don't breathe pure oxygen, but it's a large percent nitrogen, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 70, I want to say 79% nitrogen.
Isn't that nuts? Like that? So when we say we breathe oxygen, how like the oxygen lobby won, right? if what we're breathing is 78% nitrogen, I feel like the correct way to say it would be we breathe nitrogen.
Well, we breathe everything. It's just the percentage of it that's oxygen is about 20%, I think, something like that, 15 or 20%.
Right. But if we're like, hey, let's look at the Mars atmosphere, can we breathe it? The thing we should be interested in is nitrogen.
So it's funny you say that, because somebody did ask me on Twitter, and I don't think I ever responded to them, so sorry, dude. But he was basically making the point that like when we go to Mars, we can make oxygen from the CO2 that's in the atmosphere. It's like 95% CO2, but it's only 1% the air pressure, so it's not as much. But but the question was, are we going to just pressurize all of the environments in Mars with pure oxygen, or what else is going to be in there? And if we do, want to emulate the same thing here on Earth, there would be a whole lot of nitrogen we would have to take up there, and there's not any nitrogen, as far as I'm aware, on Mars. So where's that going to come from? And I was like, that's actually a good question. I can't imagine that they would pump up nitrogen. They would probably just do like, did you read Artemis? The Andy Weir book?
Yeah.
So he talks about on that one that they actually, it's a pure oxygen environment, but it's very low pressure. Mm-hmm. And it talks about different issues that come up because of that. So I'm imagining it might be something like that on Mars.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting question.
Yeah, right. Because, there are so many things that are just given our, like, common knowledge, I guess. But when you look into it, everything, there's so much more nuance to anything you think you know. Yeah. But some of those things are really, like that one. Like when you find out 80% of what you breathe is not oxygen, how is it that that's what we say we breathe? Like, who won that debate? Like, how did... I don't know.
That's the part that matters, I guess.
Or like, the plants breathe in CO2 and breathe out oxygen, which is then what we live on. But it turns out it's actually the like dendrites or whatever, bacteria, algae kind of things in the ocean that actually account for like 90% of the oxygen in our atmosphere. Yeah. So the rainforest, for example, has very little to do with any of that. And you
look at it and you go,
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, how is it that our common knowledge is like, oh, plants are good, they do this. When you look at the data behind it, you go, actually, like, it's this whole other thing that
it's the algae,
you just don't talk. Yeah, I don't know. Like, where does our knowledge come from? How does it get passed down?
That's why I do what I do.
That's it. This is why I love your channel so much.
I find the stuff that's out there that we think. I talk good. That's why I do.
I talk good and stuff. How about that?
Having one of those days. Sorry.
Well, that's. I've thought about wanting to do a second channel to look at these things more, because I just think, it's just something I'm always interested in, is looking at the numbers behind things and going, what?
Yeah.
I think if I did, I'd probably call it like data points or something and have it be, same kind of thing I do for Teslanomics, but just exploring other things, like coronavirus obviously would be a good one to look at and do, but too late for me on that. So,
well, there's the whole Dunning-Kruger effect thing. And I'll probably talk about this on my second channel at some point, but the less you know about something, the more confident you are in what you think you know, and then the more you dive into it, your confidence level drops precipitously, because suddenly you realize, oh, there's all this other information out there about this that I didn't know about. That's kind of where I live all the time, like that dip on the way down, because like every time I dig into any topic,
you're like, huh?
Yeah, I'm just like, oh wow, there's so much more to this than I ever thought, and sometimes it's fascinating. I've got a video coming up on airships. I'm kind of teasing that a little bit. That like once I looked into it, like blimps and zeppelins and stuff, it's a fascinating topic. Yeah, like I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was just like mind blowing every time I turned around. But yeah, I just live in this constant state of, wow, I just barely know anything about this. And that's why I've gotten to where I've become more reliant on experts over time than, a lot of the conspiratorial minded people would be like, oh, you have to do your own research and stuff. And I'm just like, there are people out there dedicating their entire lives to this that know more than you will ever know. Right. Maybe we should listen to them, Mm-hmm. and that's only because I'm always in that place of, wow, I don't know hardly anything about this. And
you don't know what you don't know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The unknown unknowns.
To quote Rumsfeld.
Rumsfeld, yeah.
Great. Yeah.
You got the known knowns and the unknown knowns, and the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns.
Yeah, maybe I'll think about doing that, because I think that's like, obviously the sustainability stuff is great, and I love that what I do on Teslanomics helps the environment, directly or indirectly. And but I would love just to have this extra like curiosity, like, hey, why is it that and I think you do it like it would be kind of similar in the sense of like I could explore anything out there. You do it with humor and bringing it back down to earth and all those kind of things. I would do it from let's like just look at the data and the numbers behind it. And so every video would be like really heavy on that. So I don't know if I, find myself with an extra 70 hours a week, maybe I'll consider that,
Yeah, that, it's a lot more work than, yeah.
Hey, thanks for checking us out, guys. I hope you enjoyed this clip from our podcast.
We do a weekly show here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to Our Ludicrous Future, where we discuss all the things that are going to make our future totally ludicrous.
You can join us here on YouTube or at any of your favorite podcast places. Plus, if you want to get some behind-the-scenes stuff and join a cool community, you can help support the channel at patreon.com. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.